Welcome back. Chapter 24. England, 1944. I'm feeling a bit peckish, Hamish said at breakfast, and both Eddie and David had to hide smiles. Peckish was English slang for hungry, and if there was anything the man could do, it was eat. At first, he made some comments on David being a traitor because it was Italian food and Italy was on the German side. If you don't want to eat it, David said as he started to take the plate away, but Hamish reached for it. I guess it won't hurt the world to eat one plate of spaghetti. That's, David began, but stopped. Why bother to tell the man the difference between pizza and spaghetti and pasta in general? He was glad when the old man disappeared into his room right after breakfast. That morning, Eddie had found a broken down old greenhouse at the back of the barn. It had been nearly covered with dead vines, and when she hacked through them, she found the glass house. And inside were tomatoes that had reseeded themselves. The vines had kept the soil warm through the winter, and their lack of leaves in the spring had let the sunlight in. I could kiss you for these, David said, picking up one of the precious globes from the little basket Eddie held out to him. In fact, I could kiss you for anything at all. She backed away so the table was between them, but she was smiling. Don't you know that I'm the untouchable one? I heard that, David said in a husky voice as he moved towards her. But this time Eddie didn't move away. But David's stiff leg caught on the corner of a chair and he went into a spin that almost made him fall. He caught himself on the edge of the table, then sat down heavily. I hope Austin rots in hell, he muttered as he rubbed at his sore leg. How can a man do any courting with this thing on? When Eddie said nothing, he turned to look at her, and she had a strange look in her eyes. What's going on in that little mind of yours? She scratched at her head. Today, she hadn't bothered with trying to style it. She just let it hang loose about her shoulders, and when it got in her way, she shoved a couple of Aggie's barrettes at the sides. Between her too big shirt and her too big trousers that were belted at her waist and her dark hair about her shoulders, David thought she looked magnificent. If it weren't for his leg, he would have made a move towards her before now. I need a bath, Eddie said. I think I got something from the chickens in my hair. I saw some kerosene in the barn. Should we use that? No, Eddie said, smiling. I'm going to take a bath in the river. That's not a good idea. It's still swollen and the current is... He didn't say any more because he heard the door close behind Eddie. When he went to look out the window, he saw that she was running. Obviously, she was on a mission, but he wondered what it was. She going to find that Allen key. When she came out of the barn a few minutes later and she was carrying 2 coils of rope, he knew exactly what she was thinking of doing. No, he said when she came into the kitchen. No, no, double no. If you try that, I'll hike out of here and find a telephone and tell Austin what you're planning to do. Can you tie good knots? No, David said firmly as he sat down on a chair. Okay, then we'll have to make do with my knots. She put the end of one of the ropes around her waist and tied it. There, nice and strong, isn't it? David reached up, grabbed one end of the knot and pulled. It came loosely, easily. Maybe I should tie it in 3 loops. Please, don't do this, David said, his voice almost tears. It's not worth it. We have one more day, then Aggie will be back. We'll get the magazine, then... What about this knot? David pulled both ends and they were tight. Perfect, she said. We'll use that one. And what if you get caught down there and want to get out? He asked, his voice low. Do you take a knife with you and saw at the rope? Then you fix it, she said, and I don't want any lectures about why I shouldn't do this. I'm a great swimmer. Eddie, he began, refusing to get up from the chair. This is very noble of you, but I don't want you to do this. Bending, she put her lips to his and kissed him. We have very little time left, she said. And how can you make love to me with that thing on your leg? Ooh, I'm going to do this no matter what you say, but I'd very much appreciate your help with it all. David was so stunned, I bet he was, by what she said that it took him a moment to react. When she started to walk away, he caught her wrist and pulled her to him so she landed on his lap. He kissed her gently, then with increasing passion, his kiss deepened. I fell in love with you the moment I first saw you, he whispered. It was like I knew you from somewhere. Heaven, maybe. I knew you were mine and always will be. She ran her hand along his cheek. I detest you. David chuckled. You sure know how to make a man love. You sure know how to make love to a man. Sorry, but I know nothing in that department. But I've been told that I'm a fast learner. He kissed her some more, his hands in her hair. Then the spell was broken when Eddie moved away to claw at her scalp. There's something crawling in my hair, so I'm going to jump in the river to wash it, and I might as well get that Allen wrench. Are you ready? When he frowned and looked as though he was about to again ask her not to go, she put a fingertip over his lips. Think on the bright side. I might not find it. It could be in the Times by now, and you'll be in that brace for the rest of the war. David put his hand on the kitchen table and heaved himself up. Lead the way. He was trying to sound jovial, but she could hear the fear in his voice. Come on, she said, teasing. I have the buggy already hitched. Buggy? He said, smiling as he followed her out the door. Maybe old Hamish had a car buried under that mess in the barn, and Eddie found it. Maybe. All good thoughts stopped when he saw Eddie drive out of the barn in a contraption that looked like it was made in the 1890s. It was a horse carriage with 2 big wheels in back and 2 smaller ones in front. There was a frayed and worn padded seat in the front and what looked to be a standing area in the back. Hamish's old horse was tied to it with lots of leather straps, and Hamish himself was standing to the side, looking so pleased he was almost smiling. You know how to use it, do you? He asked Eddie, who looked as though she'd been born sitting on a buggy. She had a long whip in her hand, and she gave it a snap over the horse's head. Then a few clicks, and the animal moved quickly in a perfect circle. Oh, Hamish said, you know how to drive. I have about 100 ribbons and trophies at home, she said. Oh, but look at him. How he loves it. She was referring to the horse, certainly not David, who was already backing towards the house. That he does, Hamish said as he lovingly stroked the horse's nose. He won many a race in his time, and he remembers them. The war people said he was too old to be of any use to them, but he's got a lot in him yet. We won't be long, Eddie said. David's going to tie me to the bridge, and I'm going back into the car to get some things. Maybe we can get that horrible contraption off his leg. Don't need it, do we? Hamish said. Eddie smiled at the top of the man's head. He may be old, but he saw a lot. Come on, she called to David. Hamish will help you get up on the back. You'll need to hold on when we go downhill, but I think you'll be all right. Think we should tie him on? Hamish asked. No, I do not need to be tied on, David said, making Eddie and Hamish smile at each other. It was easy to see that David thought the buggy might as well have been a mastodon. To his eyes, it was old and dangerous. Since the old horse was dancing about, remembering the days when he was young and fast, it took Hamish help to get David up on the buggy. The back of it was flat and open, so it couldn't be used for carrying things. There were a couple of handles, but it was difficult for David to sit, his leg out straight, and hold on to them. What good is this thing? You can't carry anything with it. What good is a race car? Eddie said, and Hamish nodded. All right, girl, take her down, but be careful. He pulls to the right. Don't worry, I won't let him. she said, then clicked to the horse, who took off as though someone had fired a starting pistol. In the back, David hung on with both arms, and the jarring made the steel cut into his skin, and his teeth were rattling together. "Do you have to go this fast?" he yelled up at Eddie, but all he heard was her laughter. To David, it seemed about 3 hours before they reached the river, but it was only a few minutes. They could have walked through the woods, but with David's leg, that would have been torture. He could see that the water had receded enough that it no longer went over the bridge, and to one side he could see the bottom of the tires of the car. If the water kept going down, within a day or two, half of the wheels would be visible. By the time he got down from the buggy, Eddie was already tying a rope about her waist. He brushed her hand away and redid it. "Listen to me," he said softly. "If anything goes wrong and you want me to pull you up, jerk on the rope twice. If the rope tangles and you need to get it off of you, pull this in. See?" He gave it a firm jerk and the rope fell away. "I'm going to count, and if you stay longer than 58 seconds, I'm going in after you. Do you understand?" "Perfectly," she said as she kicked off the big old boots she'd been wearing for 2 days. Then she pulled on the cord and let the rope fall to the bridge. The water had receded and the wood was dry, but it still didn't look safe. "What are you doing?" David asked. "I can't swim in all these clothes. Do you mind if I strip down?" "I don't even know how to answer that," he said in a whisper, then stepped back to watch her unbutton her shirt, then slip out of it. She was wearing the peach-colored teddy that she had on when he undressed her the first night, and he'd never seen anything more beautiful than she. She dropped the old shirt on the bridge, then went to her belt, but the horse began to act up and Eddie started to go to him. "Shut up," David said to the horse, and it instantly became still. Smiling, Eddie unfastened her belt buckle and let the trousers fall to the bridge. "They were wrong," David whispered. "About what?" Eddie asked. "Your legs. They have to be 4 feet long." "I don't know. I never measured them. Would you tie the rope around me?" "Yes," he said, but he took his time looking at every inch of her while he slowly walked towards her. He put the rope around her waist, tied the end to the side of the bridge, then nodded toward the other rope in the back of the buggy. "What's that for?" "If there's anything still in the car, I'm going to get it out." "Meaning your suitcase?" "Yes, my own clothes," she said as she glanced down at the big trousers he wore. "Did you bring anything that would fit without the brace?" "Yes, but I don't want you to bother with getting it. If you can find the Allen wrench, fine. If not, then nothing else is important. You understand me?" "You're going to make a great father," she said, "but I already have one. I think if the car is hidden, then the water is deep enough for a dive, don't you?" "No," David half shouted. "We'll go to the edge and you can walk in. You don't know." He broke off because she climbed onto the railing and did a perfect swan dive into the river. He held his breath as he waited for her to come up, and every terror went through his head. Had she hit bottom? Was she unconscious? He was halfway over the railing when she came up. "Whew, it's cold," she said. What did you think it would be? Tropical?" he said, doing his best to hide his fear. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine. It feels great. I'm going to wash my hair. Throw me that soap off the seat, will you?" "Soap," he said, mumbling. He just wanted her to get this done and get out of there. With his legs held stiffly, he half ran, half hobbled to the buggy and got a bar of soap off the seat, then tossed it to her. "Good catch," he said. I was the best batter on my school baseball team," she said. "I could hit the ball just 10 feet and still outrun them all." She was soaping her hair while treading water. Turning, she looked at the car, then swam to it, climbed on top. "Look at me," she yelled. "Yeah, look at you." She had on a clinging teddy that was wet and transparent, and she was standing on top of an upside-down car that couldn't be seen above the water. She looked like she was standing on water. "My kingdom for a camera," he whispered, but he had none. "Be careful on that thing," he called. "The bottom of the car isn't as smooth as a mattress." She kept rubbing her hair with the soap, then threw the bar back to him. To his shame, he missed it and had to chase it across the bridge. When he looked back, she was gone, and for a moment his heart seemed to stop beating. He waited what seemed to be minutes, but there was no sign of her. He gave a tug on the rope, but she didn't tug back, and she hadn't released it. "I knew this was a bad idea," he said. "I knew it. I should have stopped her. I should have forced her to—" "To what?" she said, and she was below him, her hand on a pillar of the bridge. "Forced you not to do this?" "I'd like to have seen you try," she said in a suggestive way. "Can you reach my hand?" David got down on his stomach and reached down until he touched her hand, and she passed him the Allen wrench. She got that Allen wrench for her boo. He clasped it tightly, then rolled onto his back and for a moment held it to his chest. Such a little thing, but so very important. "I got it," he said. "So now can you come up?" But when he looked, she was already gone. With lightning speed, David unbuckled his trouser and pushed him off. Then he gave one last look of hatred to the steel brace and began loosening screws. For the sake of comfort, all the screws were recessed so the protruding heads wouldn't shaft the person's skin, but that made it necessary to use an unusual tool to remove the cage. Half of the screws were too tight from water and rust, and one of them broke as he twisted. But with David's determination and just plain anger, not to mention the desire he had for Miss Edelyn Harcourt, he kept working. He broke blisters and made some new cuts as he wrenched the thing off his leg, but he managed to tear it away from his skin. Then he threw it toward the far end of the bridge. When he was free of it, he had trouble standing, but he made it. He had to bend his knee half a dozen times before it began working again. His leg was a mess with blisters and bloody patches and bits of cloth stuck to raw places, but to him it looked great. "I'm out of it," he yelled as he looked back at the river, but Eddie didn't answer him. He unbuttoned his shirt, threw it on the bridge, climbed on the rail, and dove in. "What took you so long?" she asked as she swam into his arms. And that's the end of chapter 24. Again, not much to talk about, except they got the brace off his leg and they, happy. Auntie, yes, it is a fluff chapter, but I didn't get anything. You know how they do at the end of the book. They got to rush it and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to take this chapter to be. But I shall see you in the next chapter. Bye for now.